Hi, I'm Roy Asotasi, played for the NRL clubs Bulldogs, South Sydney Rabbitohs and former international for the Kiwis and Samoa. How did I get into rugby league? I was at a school, Marston College. Marston was a union only school, so there's no league. They were pretty keen on, I had a few league guys in there. I was playing union at the time. The guys that got me into the game of league at school wanted me to play in the local club, so Maris Saints. Pretty much the rest is history. First grade debut, I just remember it was just the whole hype and anxiety of getting out there on the field, and it also wasn't, I think it was pretty much not long after the whole salary cap scandal that we in 2002, so I think for a lot of the guys that were playing that year in 2002, they were disappointed because they went from, I think they had 45 points docked that year, and I was only young. I hadn't played barely that year, so it was debut year, and for me it was just like, everyone was obviously disappointed in the sheds, but I was just happy that I got my debut. You had Willie Mason there, you had Steve Price, Tony Grimaldi was another guy who looked after me when I was coming through. You had Jonathan Thurston, he was also coming through the ranks too at the time, Rennie Maitor, Sonny Bill Williams. So we were still a pretty young squad, you know, just having a time of our life, just being in the mix with all the other first graders. I was cementing my spot. I think I played every single game that year in 2004, so I was just enjoying the moment of just being there and getting to the finals. Didn't really go outside, everything was done warmed out inside, so you couldn't really feel the atmosphere of what's going on, and it wasn't until we came out, walked out as a team together, and you just saw just the whole packed stadium, just the goosebumps of just going out there, we made it, and this is the moment that most players dream of.
And jubilation.
Who celebrated the hardest?
What did I? Can't remember. I think all of us did. We all did pretty well. Got the phone call, and it just, you know, I kind of just thought it was surreal because we just came off, you know, we're still off a high of winning the grand final, and when the call came through, look, Roy, you made the squad. That just, you know, set me up to another level. So I was almost back to celebrating again. I think it was just a special moment for that special group of guys in 2005, because nobody has ever done it to the Aussies, kept them scoreless. We just had a big belief factor in that year, and we've always been the underdog. But I think the scoreless part was the one that we took the most out of. I think it was during the haka ceremony, and well, you're not gonna say, "Oh, look, I want to take it easy on Willie," because I actually play with him at the Dogs, so if you can, guys, take it easy. It was just more of a switch. Okay, we're going out. It's time to hunt, and the boys and Kitty found him on that special play and got him.
Inside now out there on debut, and then Mason gets a shoulder.
You know, I think it became one of the highlights that year. You know, it's country versus country, and you know, you put all things aside, regardless of whether you played throughout the year with them. Anything that teams or countries or players can use as motivation, you use it. So, and that was one thing that the Kiwi side used during that Tri-Nation period. Even though I always kind of thought of myself as that young kid at the Dogs coming through, just enjoying footy, but understanding that there was, at the Rabbits, there's a bit of a responsibility to make sure that being the marquee guy that's come across, you probably need to try and set some standards. South weren't doing too well, obviously the year before. Russell Crowe, Peter Hosecourt took over. We understood that it was going to be a bit of a process to get to where we want. We also, when I spoke to obviously Russell over those couple of years, was the aim was to buy new players, and you can only look at where they are now and where they're sitting, how much more dominant they are as a side now. You know, you had the Burgess boys that were coming by at that time, and they were playing the two twins, they were playing some pretty good footy. And it was just only a matter of time, and I've always understood that this is just the way the game goes. Father Time does catch up on players, and I'm just grateful for having such a successful career for such a long period of time. 2013 was my last year. I had a young family going across, and like any other player that does make that transition across to the Super League, I enjoyed it. The time that I had there at Warrington, I knew it wasn't going to be a forever thing. unlike most players do anyway. So it was just a matter of just going in there and trying to enjoy it as much as I could. I think there's a lot of players when they know they're done, it's not the actual game, it's the weeks of preparations, trying to get up, and mind you, the weather in the UK just doesn't help either. Cold, darkness, it can kind of end your career pretty quick over there. F45 was coming out on the scene at the time in 2014. My brother got F45 North Parramatta up and running at the time, so I pretty much made the transition from coming across, and it made sense. It was probably the most easiest thing I knew about health and fitness. Pretty much doing the day-to-day and the running of the business, and like anything, just instead of getting whipped from coaches when I was playing in rugby league, I'm doing the opposite.